A good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 10 of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. My name is Felix van Delft. I will be your host for today. Later, after qualifying, I will be joined by Peter Schulze as well. He is currently busy with race director stuff. Qualifying has just started, so let's jump straight into it. Currently leading the field, it seems to be Jordi Zwiers. We already are 5 minutes into this qualifying session, so some times already have been set, and so far it's been Jordi Zwiers who's been quickest with a 1:27.386. Good lap time from him, a good base. Obviously still a lot of attempts left for him to try and improve that lap time. Now let's see if there's anybody on a hot lap right now. Obviously, the Suzuka track is one of the most iconic tracks on the Formula SimRacing calendar. Here on board with Mark Weiler, a lot of steering lock here coming into turn 1. Tires were smoking there. Not sure if that's the quickest way to go around this track. It's definitely not in the race, I can tell you that for sure, because you will just wear your tires down in 2 laps and then you won't be able to make it to the end of the race. Now maybe it works in qualifying though. Mark Weiler, a lot of steering lock through the first deckner, second deckner, hard on the power again on the curb a little bit there. Can't lose a little bit of time if you ride the curves a bit too hard on the deckners, because car can bottom out and have get stuck on the curb. Now though, his first sector Mark Weiler was a 32.474, which is not too bad. It's a personal improvement for him. So looking at somewhere around the top 10 right now, top 8. Second sector is going to be important. We saw him pushing hard through the deckners. 130R flat out here with these cars. The 2018 Formula SimRacing cars have a lot of downforce. Second sector was a 39.0 for him. Not a very good second sector time, also not an improvement for him. Now up to the line he comes, and it is not an improvement for him, so he has to try again later. Now in the meantime, Luca D'Amelio went quite a bit quicker than Jordi Zwiers to take provisional pole position. Currently with a 1:27.172. Nice lap time. Kostas Kalamatis, however, just put in a purple sector 1, so let's keep an eye out on him for just for now. His first sector 31.8, almost a tenth quicker than most people. Now second sector gonna be important for Kostas Kalamatis. I've seen the Greek driver do some good stuff in the past rounds. Second sector 38.7, not too bad. Up there with the top 5. Now to the line he comes. A good exit out of the last corner, the Casio triangle, and it's a P4 for him at the moment. Great lap for the Greek driver, and I'm sure he will be happy with that. Now Jordi Zwiers will be looking to try and get back to the top spot, obviously. Now in the meantime, Tiziano Brioni also set in a quicker lap time than him, 27.329, and Cameron Roger is on a flying first sector right now, so let's keep an eye out on him as well. Jordi Zwiers just coming out of the spoon curve right now, tried to get a little bit of a toe of the Emilia Grand Prix car there. Now into the Casio triangle, runs a little bit deep, but I think it's not too bad. Oh, and a big oversteer moment, touches the inside curb, and around Jordi Zwiers go. That's his lap gone. Now Cameron Roger, he was on a very good first sector. Second sector is also good for him. Third sector is gonna be important. DRS opens, up to the line he comes, and it's a 27.022. Provisional pole position for Cameron Roger with just over 10 minutes to go in this session. Now look at Amelio. We saw him already when he got passed by Jordi Zwiers on the back straight. Now he is in the first sector. Car looking a little bit loose. Smoke coming off the tires into the Deckners. First sector for Luca D'Amelio. 39 or 31.9, sorry. So 2/10 slower than what Cameron was doing, but roughly the same pace as Tiziano Brioni and Jordi Vierment. Oh, he's around in the hairpin. Too much entry speed, loses the rear a little bit, and end of the lap for him. Now Tom Ollemenger, obviously one of our championship contenders here in the Pro Championship. Also on a lap, about to finish his lap. His first sector was okay, second sector was definitely okay as well. Last sector is going to be important for him. Let's see where will it put him. P3 for Tom Ollemenger right now with a 1 minute 27.2. So fight for the pole position is getting tougher and tougher right now. But still Cameron Roger leading by quite a comfortable, I wouldn't say, but quite a big margin, 1.5 tenths. Ivan Leonov, our championship leader here in the Pro Championship. I haven't seen him on track yet. Could be that he has a grid penalty. I'm not sure. Bojan Bogdanov here about to start his qualifying lap. Let's keep an eye out on him. Obviously also on the timing sheets. If anybody in the chat wants to follow the timing sheets himself, he can go in the description, and there should be a link to those timing sheets. First sector, there's a couple of corners for Bogdanov, looking smooth, looking clean, not too much correction she has to do, but maybe it's not the quickest way. We won't know until he passes the sector marker. So Ivan Leonov, he has a pit lane start, so will be a difficult race for him then. Obviously leading the championship, but his two main rivals are Cameron Roger and Tom Ollemenger, and at the moment Cameron is on pole and Tom Ollemenger is on P3. So it's gonna be a tough day for Ivan Leonov. Now Bogdanov down the back straight out of Spoon. It's a very, very important exit you have to get there. Obviously you take through all the speed you gain out of the exit of Spoon up to the Casio triangle here, where you brake hard around the 100 meter board, turn the car in, hit the curbs a little bit, not the inside curb there on the right, because you saw what happened there to Jordi Zwiers. Now up to the line, and it is a improvement for Bojan Bogdanov, 127.4, puts him up to P9 for now. Now Cameron Roger is about to start his, not his last, but his second last attempt here for the 10th round of the Pro Championship, the qualifying of that. Let's go on board with him. Coming into turn 1, flat out on the steering, and then brake whilst you're already steering. Asks a lot of the tires, and you can see it, it's a bit too much as he runs wide into turn 2. And that's the end of his attempt there. Now Tom Ollemenger also on a attempt. No, he's not. He's on an out lap, so won't be improving anything. Tiziano Brioni is on an attempt. Just came out of the Spoon curve. Flat out through 130R. Braking hard. Let's see what he can do. First two sectors are a personal improvement. Here we go. Up to the line he comes. And P2 for Tiziano Brioni for now, with still a pretty big gap to Cameron Roger. Tom Ollemenger is in turn 1 now. Let's go on board with him. P2 in the standings. Looking comfortable in the first sector there. Very stable, very controlled through there. Not pushing the tires too much, not sliding the rear around. Perhaps that's the way to go. Let's see Tom Ollemenger 31.8 first sector. A bit slower than Cameron Rogers, but still a good first sector time for him. Now Tom Ollewenger on the... Oh, a little bit of a slide there coming out of the hairpin. Flying the throttle a bit too soon. Now into spoon curve. The 3D flag car gets out of the way. It's the curb a little bit there. You can do it a little bit, but if you hit the curb on the right hand side of the first part of spoon, you can lose control of the car and bottom the car out, and that will be the end of your spoon. Now, Tom Ollewenger last corner, second sector wasn't the best, especially compared to his personal best. And he also decides to quit that lap. Currently not a lot of drivers out on track. The whole top 14 in the pit lane, waiting for a good moment to start their last attempts. Now people starting to get out of the pit lane. Tiziano Brioni the first one of the pack, behind him Jordi Swiers. Jordi Swiers getting past Tiziano Brioni there already. Tiziano taking a very slow out lap. Now qualifying in Suzuka most of the time seems like an important thing because of the first sector, the way it's structured. You can't really overtake in the first sector unless you get a good toe down the start-finish straight and perhaps get something into turn 1, maybe turn 2. The main overtaking spot here, Suzuka seems either to be the hairpin or to be the Casio triangle at the end of the lap. So qualifying is important because it seems that it's difficult to pass, and if you have to do qualifying position, of course it's easier to keep people behind you than to overtake people. Now Jordi Swiers about to start his final attempt. Into turn 1 he goes, full throttle on the brakes, seems nice and control. He misses the inside apex a little bit, but I don't think that loses him too much time. A bit too much steering there for him. Almost lost it into Dagna 1. Surely that lost him quite a bit of time. First sector for Tiziano Brioni is 31.8. He is a little bit up the road, or behind Jordi Swiers. Jordi Swiers did a 31.96, so not the best first sector for Swiers. Now second sector is gonna be important. We saw him making a mistake in Dagna 1, so can he make up that time in the rest of the sector? Now coming to that sector marker, so we will eagerly wait for the time. 38.4 in the second sector. That's a good sector time. Gianna Violi 38.6. Out of the Casio triangle we come. Bit of oversteer for him. And it's a provisional P2 for Zwiers. And a provisional P3 for Tiziano Brioni, who did a purple last sector even. Now Cameron Roger already on pole position. The timer is out. So nobody that isn't on the lap already can finish his lap. Look at Amelio. Also on an improvement for him. He's in P4 currently. Tom Oldemenger dropped down to P5. Roger seems quite stable through the spoon section. Bit of oversteer, tiny correction out of the exit. Now coming up to Casio triangle. Braking hard, turning it in. Second sector quick for him as well. Last corner. And it's an improvement, 126.960. And that's pole position for Cameron Roger. Seems to be quite happy with that. And with that, we go for a small advertisement break. We will be back with you in roughly 5 to 10 minutes time to start the race.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play?
Yeah, I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
Well, I have a hand.
keep it up.
Whoa, great! Oh no, big mistake!
Back last and down to 10.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 10 of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship here from Japan. We're about to start the race. We're a little bit late due to some, well, technical problems, you can call it. My voice is kind of stopping to work, but luckily Peter Schulze is here with us as well to help out with the commentary. Welcome, Peter.
Welcome, Felix. Yeah, your voice doesn't sound that good, I have to say. So a little bit worried for the race. But I guess looking that all the cars are lining up on the grid right now and this formation lap is about to start, let's take a look at the starting order. We have Cameron Roger, one of the championship contenders, in position 1. His teammate Jordi Spears is in 2nd place. Then we have Tiziano Prioni in the 3rd place with Luca D'Emilio in 4th. Mirko Lapini and Roma Tissing are in 5th and 6th. Behind them are Tom Oldemenger, who had a penalty for this race, and Kostas Galamatis. Then we have Bojan Bogdanov and Eduard Batala. Behind them, Gerard Batala and Rainier Vecher. Then we have Joao Pitas and Francisco Morante. Behind them are Intreg Remitz and Galop de Vries. Then we have Tom Lomberts, who also had a penalty this race, and Mark Weyler. Then behind them, David Santos and Michael Wilson, Arie Kulak and Jan Weasley in 21st and 22nd. We have Timo Burkhardt and Shaya Rias in 23rd and 24th. And then behind them, Claudio Kuna and Thomas Lenz, who are running up the grid. And we have Matthew Tucson and Ivan Leonov, who both have a start from the pit lane. So it looks like Cameron is doing really slow formation lap right here. For this race we have the 3 hardest compounds which are available in Formula SimRacing, which are the soft tires, the medium tires and the hard tires. So strategy will be quite interesting, I think. What do you think, Felix, will be the strategy choices here?
Yeah, it is a quite interesting strategy. I think both of them is possible. Perhaps a 2-stop, perhaps a 1-stop. 1 stop on different tires, perhaps soft and hard or soft and medium. So, but I have to see which car takes which strategy. Perhaps cars that had a bit more tire wear will go for the 2-stop or for the 1-stop with the hard tire instead of the medium tire. Really, it's I can't really call it right now. I think it's gonna be to see in the race what's gonna happen. Obviously, top 10 is going to start from the soft tire, so that's given. And we can see who is starting from the other compounds already. It seems that most people from the top 10 down are starting on the medium tire, except on Lamberts, who's starting from the soft in P17.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I think overtaking will not be the easiest task around this track, giving a lot of corners here, not a lot of straights. So interesting choice by Tom Lamberts. And I think the goal should be for everyone to try 1-stop. Because, as I said, I think overtaking will not be the easiest task around this track. So 1-stoppers should have an advantage here. But let's see, as all of the cars slowly lining up on the grid. Let's see what the start brings.
The 2 drivers in the pit lane also lining up, making sure they are ready to start their race as well. Now all drivers lined up, it seems. Green flags being waven.
Yeah, there was still a bit of movement at the back of the grid, so that's why the lights are not on yet.
Right. Here we go. Lights are coming on. We have 5 lights. And we are racing here for the Pro Championship at Japan. A bad start for Cameron Roger, who's already dropping back 2 places behind Jordi Zwiers and Tiziano Brioni. Everybody into turn 1 with some smoking engines between there as well. Cameron Roger dropping down to P3 now. Needs to watch out for Tom Ondermenger as well. Look at Amelio. Also not having a very good start, but Rumer Tissing up to P4 already with a great start by him so far.
Yeah, looks like Cameron was kidnapping. He didn't have the best start, which is obviously not helping him in this championship battle. Let's see further down the grid. I think Joao Pitars had a good start. He got a few positions, I think. Jared Butler had a bad start. Let's see. There's a few crashing noises in the back, and nothing too big happened there. So I think the first lap so far was pretty clean. We have Shai Urias without a front wing, who's in last position right now. I think he had a little incident with David Santos. And at the leaders, it looks like Tiziano Brioni already making a huge gap to Jordi Zwiers. Cameron right up the gearbox of Jordi, trying an overtake into 130R. That's not something you can do without. Oh, and Roma hits Jordi. He loses his front wing. Roma way too ambitious there. Runs into the back of Jordi, down 130R. And yeah, has to pit in lap 1. That's an expensive mistake for Roma to make, and I think Jordi probably has suspension damage from it. Yeah, his steering wheel is slightly pointed to the right side right now, so that's not helping Jordi, not helping Roma.
Let's see, we're just looking at it in the replay right now. In slow-mo, and you can see Roma just had the overspeed on Zwiers, but just no space. Runs into the back of him.
Oh, and I'm not exactly sure what happened right now, but I don't see any car on track.
Yeah, server seems to be out. Because for me also 0 cars on track.
Yeah, we have a little bit of technical difficulties right now. I think we will go on a little break and we will be right back when the server is back online.
Yeah, indeed. Seems that there are some technical difficulties with the server. Obviously, we're all not even 5 laps into the race. That means the race will just be restarted in just a few minutes of time. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
outside, one that round, keep it up.
Whoa, great!
Oh no, big mistake! Edwards got back last and down to 10th. No, he's there, now he's confident.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The server has been restarted. We are ready to get the race going once again. For the people that just tuned in right now, my name is Felix van Delft. I will be stepping aside a little bit here for commentary. My voice is really stopping to work right now. Luckily, we have Joshua Penny here stepping in for me. Really thank you for doing this, Joshua, and welcome.
Hi, yeah, no problem, and I'm looking forward to it actually because I've been away from Formula Sim Racing for quite a while now, and I really have been missing it, and Suzuka is a track that I really like, so I'm excited to be back again. So we're just lining up now for the restart of the race. The first start, of course, had to be abandoned after some server issues, but we've got it sorted now. Whoa, what's happened? There's already been an accident off the line there. Oh, right, the restart.
Yeah, there was an issue with the grid. We're just restarting real quick to sort it out. Apparently, the grid file wasn't working how it should be, so we're just fixing the grid real quick, and then we're starting the race again.
Okay, yeah, that sort of confused me there because I was watching Cameron Roger, who's on pole position here, waiting for him to get going on the formation lap, and then suddenly he just stalled and got hit from behind. But obviously that's because that wasn't the proper start. We're just preparing for that now. But yeah, as I said, the first start was abandoned after a server issue, but we're back now for the second attempt at it, quite a way after when it was supposed to take place. So we've had a bit of a delay here, but it's still Cameron Roger on pole position. We're keeping the original grid order. He will be followed still by Tom Allmendinger. I'm not sure of any penalties.
Yeah. Tom Allmendinger has a penalty, 5th-place grid penalty, as well as Tom Lambert and Shire Rias.
Okay, so I'm reading the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually see qualifying because I wasn't expecting to be commentating here at the minute. I was kind of called in very last minute, but that's okay. Right, now we're properly preparing for the start of the race. The grid is.
Yeah,
we're not.
For some reason, there is like the grid file is correct, but the server puts the drivers in the wrong position. So we're just figuring this out right here.
Well, this is bizarre because we've had about 5 attempts at starting the race now, and none of them have been successful. So this race obviously doesn't want to start itself, but we all want to race. So hopefully we can get it sorted out quickly. But yeah, we just seem to be having all sorts of technical issues today, and we apologise for the delay, but we'll be getting the race underway as soon as we can, which shouldn't take much longer, I expect. The grid is just forming itself, I can see in the chat, and then we'll be ready to get underway here at Formula Sim Racing Pro at Suzuka. Suzuka, of course, the only track on the calendar which crosses over itself. It's not really a figure of 8 as people call it, but it's more or less that because it crosses over itself. There's a bridge going over a tunnel, and that makes it a very unique track on the calendar. It doesn't really affect much as to setup or anything like that, but it does mean that both sides of the car have to do almost an equal amount of work in this, which is rather unusual. But in terms of the actual circuit, it's quite fast. It's also quite technical. There are some quick flowing S's at the start of the section, at the start of the circuit rather, followed by a couple of hairpins, some tighter corners, and some elevation changes as well. Not dramatic elevation changes, but they're definitely noticeable. So it's an interesting circuit. There isn't really much else like it. And for sim racing, a lot of drivers enjoy it. They call it a driver's circuit, and for the reason that it is very exciting to race.
Yeah, and now finally the grid is sorted how it should be. All the drivers who had penalties are in the correct position, so we're good to go on the formation lap.
Finally, so away we go, and it's Cameron Roger leading us away on this formation lap in the number 57 car. He's being followed away by Jordi Spears in second, followed by Tiziano Brioni, he's third, Luca D'Emilio fourth, Mirko Lipini is fifth, then it's Roma Teesing, Tom Oldenmenger, Kostas Galanamatis, Bojan Bogdanov, Edward Batala. I really didn't practice these names today. Gerard Batala, his brother, lines up directly behind him. Rainer Vergier is 12th, then it's Hao Pites, Francesco Morante, Indrek Remitz, Charlotte de Vries, Tom Lomberts, Mark Weiler, David Santos, Michael Wilson, Arik Kulak, Jan Vesley, Timo Burkhardt, Shargil Riaz, there you go, Claudio Cunha and Thomas Lentz, with Matthew Toussaint and Ivan Leonov starting from the pits. Now Ivan Leonov here is actually leading the championship, so to see him starting from the pits, this is surely the opportunity that his primary championship rivals will be looking for. They need to focus on pulling in as many points as they can. Second in the championship is Tom Oldenmenger, and Oldenmenger in this race is starting from P7, so not a great qualifying from him. But Cameron Roger, who is third in the championship, lines up first on the grid. So to be honest, if you look at this order and you look at the championship, the driver who can probably be the happiest at the minute is definitely Cameron Roger. However, it can all change in the race, and the race is where you score the points.
Yeah, but one thing not to forget is Cameron Roger made a mistake last race in Singapore where he put on the wrong tires, so he got disqualified after the race. But Cameron lodged an appeal for his disqualification, so the points for, well, the results for the last race are not updated yet, so depending on what the Court of Appeal decides, Cameron might lose a few points to what he has right now. So I think it might be Luca D'Emilio in P3, but you're completely right. Cameron Roger is the one who needs the points the most right now, because he's on a disadvantage compared to the other 3 or 4 guys fighting for the championship, and even Leonov, championship leader, start from the pit, so he has some places to gain today if he wants to win the Pro Championship.
So we're lining up on the grid now. Cameron Roger at the front of the order is going to stop on his grid, in his grid box on the left-hand side of the grid. It is a short run to turn 1, but because the grid box is on the outside of the first corner, it means that if you can get a good jump off the inside lane, then you stand a good chance of taking the lead at the start. It's still quicker on the left-hand side of the track because that's where the grip is. That's where the racing line is. Oh, Roger's slightly overshot his box there. I don't think the game's going to mind much. Right, onto the back of the grid is going to be Thomas Lentz, and then in the pit lane I've just seen Ivan Leonov and Matthew Toussaint getting ready to emerge from the pit lane when the pack is in a safe place. Let's watch for the lights. Cameron Roger will see them. We'll have the best view of them. He is at the front of the order. We will have 5 lights, 5 red lights on the lighting gantry, and when they extinguish, we will be underway for Formula SimRacing Pro, and that is now! Away we go! Cameron Roger leads us away. He gets a good start and covers the line. Cameron Roger takes the lead, but look at the outside. That's Tiziano Brioni going to the outside. Roger keeps the lead though, and up the inside for second goes Jordi Spears. He might well get that. They're side by side towards turn 2, and in fact Brioni keeps that. So everyone through more or less safely. I don't see much. Well, there's a front wing that goes flying at the back, and a couple of guys in the gravel The front wing belonged to David Santos, who's going to have to make a pit stop. But a more or less clean start here, as it's Roger, Brioni, Spheres, D'Amelio, and then for 5th, Romer Tissin gets it, but he had to fight Lupini for it as they went through the Degners on that opening lap there. Now up towards the hairpin. Will there be anyone trying to outbrake their opponents into here? It's a difficult one, and I don't see too many people trying it. That would be very ambitious. Also missing some bodywork is Mark Vela. He is also missing his front wing, and he will have to pit after this lap as well. So there has been a fair amount of contact towards the back of the field.
And we have Roma Tissing very close to Luca D'Amelio, going side by side, and before 130R, Roma ahead into 130R, makes the move in lap 1 onto Luca D'Amelio, now up into P4.
Yeah, and makes the corner as well. That's a very fast corner of the track, the famous 130R. And Tissin has got the move. He's made it stick, and now he's running in 4th position. His next target is Jordi Spears in 3rd position. A couple of drivers going side by side down the main straight here. We've got Pites and Galanamatis side by side for 10th. Pites keeps that for now in the ACR car as they exit turn 1 and head through the rest of the first sector. And after the first lap, the order is Roger, Brioni, Spheres, Tissin, D'Amelio, Lupini, Patala, Ormandiger, Bogdanov, Pites, Galanamatis, Batala, Bergier, Remitz and De Vries. Those are the top 15 drivers. Tom Lombert's in the gravel. He's just been for a big spin through the Dunlop curve there. Saw that as I was scrolling back through the order. He was running 16th, and then the car weirdly just swapped ends on him. He didn't touch anyone or anything like that. The car just decided it wasn't going to play ball anymore, and around it went. A big spin for Tom Lombert, but he has rejoined the race without any damage to the car. At least his tyres will be absolutely ruined after that. As we go on to lap 2, he's got a long race to go ahead of him, and that will surely upset his strategy as well. So not a good start for Tom Lombert there, but it has been a great start for Cameron Roger, who keeps his lead out in front, and is just coming through now to finish the second lap of the race. Still, it's Roger who leads from Brioni and Spears.
Yeah, and in the back we had Francesco Morante, who had an incident in lap 1. He pitted, and afterwards his suspension damage was too much, and he went into the wall in the S's and retired. Yeah,
unfortunate there for Morante. Into the pits, interestingly, comes Gerard Batalla, and that's a drive-through. He must have jumped the start. So Gerard Batalla there drives through the pits, probably as a result of jumping the start, and he rejoins the track.
And Eduard Batalla just had a massive counterlock moment through Dunlop, like the same Tom Lombert had last lap, but he managed to save it. This was very close to going into the wall.
Wow, turn 7 Dunlop curve seems to be a difficult one, and the rear end seems to just want to swap away from these cars. That's very interesting, seeing as it's not a particularly difficult corner a lot of the time. The rear grip seems to well, usually keeps the car pretty planted through there, especially when you have the fat rear tire variants of single seaters, like the ones we are racing here in Formula Sim Racing. So that is a bit bizarre, but we have seen a couple of big swaps through the Dunlop curve, and
we have Tom Oldermenger really close to Eduard Batalla after 130 now the last chicane. Let's see, DRS will be enabled in the next lap, so Tom won't have it on the start-finish straight right. Oh, he will have it actually, sorry for this. He's going for a move down the inside of Eduard Batalla into turn 1 there, side by side into turn 1, and Tom Oldermenger goes past him before the braking for turn 2, up into P7 now.
That's a very good move. That's Tom Oldermenger up into P7 from Eduard Batalla. Up in front of them as well, Roma Tissin had a slight look at Jordi Spears, although he was just sort of showing himself to his mirrors. He wasn't close enough for a fully fledged attack, but that's definitely another scrap to keep an eye on. Spears versus Tissin. Up in front, still it's close between Roger and Brioni. They're separated by less than 0.6 of a second. The DRS will be wide open on Brioni's car when he goes down one of the 2 DRS zones, DRS straights we have on this circuit. And the battle for the lead is still a proper battle here, as is the one for 3rd place. And then as the rest of the field streams through, I'm sure that Oldenmenger will be about to set about Lupini. They're still very close, or they're closer now than they were at the start of the lap, Oldenmenger and Lupini. Now,
Take a look at Roma. Take a look at the fight for P3. Roma is really close to Jordi Spears going into 130R. He will get a slipstream. Will he make a move into the last chicane?
Yes, he will. He's going to the outside here. Tries to brake later. If he can keep himself on the inside here, there's nothing that Spears could have done to hold him off. But however, Spears has the inside line for the first final corner, and that made the difference. But T-Scene has the DRS wide open, and he blasts past Jordi Spears. That was a very straightforward move in the end, but Roma T-Scene has been hassling Jordi Spears for laps, and now he has finally got that position. He goes through, and even Leonov is about to pull a very similar move as he makes his way up the order from the back. Although he has to back out of that one, actually. That's Thomas Lentz he's fighting there, and he had to let it go for now at the start of his recovery. But yeah, still plenty of battling on the track, aided here by the DRS zone. DRS, of course, stands for drag reduction system. It's the flap on the rear wing that opens when you're within a second of the car in front on one of the 2 designated DRS straights. And of course, that flap opening means that the surface area of the rear wing being hit by the air flying into it is reduced, therefore less drag is created, and the car goes faster, meaning the car behind ends up going faster than the car ahead, therefore leading to overtakes.
Yeah, and also on the last lap we have seen in the background Tom Oldenmenger doing an easy DS pass onto Mirko Lupini.
Oldenmenger T-Scene going through into 3rd.
Yeah, and now we have a 3-way battle for P7. Mirko Lupini, Edward Battala, Kostas Galonomatis, all nearly going side by side out of 130R. I think, yeah, Battala will have DRS now, Mirko Lupini doesn't. Let's see.
Yes, Battala takes a look to the outside down the straight. Galonomatis is going to follow him through, but doesn't get far enough alongside him. Although he certainly had a look, and Lupini's lost another position there. He lost position on the last lap to Tom Oldenmenger, who's up into 6th. And there's another change further down the order. Oh, into the gravel goes Michael Wilson. That was a close one. Rejoins the track without damage, but that was very close. And we've had a spin, and it's Jan Beasley. So Jan Beasley has been off on the exit of turn 1, and he just got... Oh, that was actually... Yeah, he had contact with Michael Wilson, which ended up sending Wilson into the gravel, and then as Beasley tried to recover it, he got over the curve, and the rear end swapped incident. He was very lucky not to be collected by anyone following him, but he's got going now right down in 24th position. He was running, I think, 15th before that, so he's lost many positions, but no damage. It's been a relatively damage-free race so far, despite a couple of front wings going missing on the front lap, and I hope I'm not cursing that, but it's looking good so far. We've only had 1 retirement, and that's Francesco Morante. Oldenmenger in P6 is very close to the rear of Luca D'Emilio's car. These two, of course, some big names in this championship, and are very close on track as we head down the straight. In fact, Oldenmenger is going to the inside here, and he's going to have that line as we head into turn 1. Oldenmenger gets 5th place. He's charging through as Galonomatis also passes Lupini. Now, Oldenmenger, of course, was in, I think, 9th place a couple of laps ago. He's just been carving his way through the order. He's passed Lupini, he's passed D'Emilio, and now he's up into 5th position. His next target is Jordi Spears, who is about 4.5 seconds up the road from him. Gonna take him a little while to catch him, but I tell you what, from what we've seen from Tom Oldenmenger so far in this race, it's certainly not unrealistic.
And at the front, Tiziano Prioni is slowly catching up to Cameron Roger. We've seen the gap stagnating at about 1 second the last few laps, and now the gap is only little bit more than half a tenth. So Tiziano, sorry, is getting slipstream now down into 130R. He will get a DRS down the pit straight. I mean, so there might be a move for P1 right now.
It seems that we do only have one DRS zone on this circuit. In reality, we have two, but obviously this version of the circuit doesn't. So yeah, we're only using the pit straight as a DRS zone. And he opens the DRS now. The gap is 0.576, so that won't be close enough for a move. But still, Brioni not letting Roger get away. And that's definitely a battle that is going to be going for quite a long time. It's been there or thereabouts. As meanwhile, Lupini is under attack from Bogdanov. But yeah, it's been there or thereabouts at somewhere between half a second and 1.5 seconds between Roger and Brioni for the entire race so far. It's never reached 2 seconds, that gap, and it can probably stay about there for quite a while. Brioni doesn't appear to be struggling to follow Roger. He's struggling to pass him, but following him seems to be no issue.
We've seen quite an interesting thing down the DRS straight. Cameron pulled away, even though Tiziano had the DS and slipstream, so I think Cameron might have turned the engine up to the maximum and might even use the quality boost a bit. And you can see right here, Tiziano is basically on his rearing right now. He will use the slipstream again to get close to him, and at some point in the next like 3 to 5 laps, Cameron can't use the high engine modes anymore, so Tiziano will pass him.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why Brioni hasn't passed him yet. It's because it's much easier to overtake someone in a straight line than on a corner, and Roger is great in a straight line here. But when it comes to the corners, Brioni is catching him. However, of course, Brioni hasn't had an opportunity until, well, he took a slight look there down into turn 1. Although that was not a realistic opportunity. You really need to get up someone's inside into turn 1, or at least be far enough ahead on the left-hand side, but for now, Brioni has to back out of that. Also close behind them, Tessine and Sphere still going at it there, and D'Amelio and Gallinamatis don't have much between them either. So we still have a lot of close scraps in this field. We're about, well, we're on lap 9 now, so plenty of the way through the race. And still they're going at it. Into the pits, meanwhile, we've got Thomas Lentz. He's making it a stop. He was on the softer component tire, or the soft compound, and he's going out on the soft again. Of course, we have 3 sets of tyres, or 3 compounds of tyres available to us today. Those are the softs, the mediums, and the hards. The softer the tyre, the faster it is initially, but the quicker it wears. Meanwhile, we had an accident on that last lap as Gerard Battalla ran into the back of Thomas Lentz through turn 1. He ended up losing his front wing. Lentz had a massive save actually, but Battalla, I'm afraid, has retired from this race. So 26 of our original 28 drivers still running here. Let's watch Brioni as we head towards turn 1. He got close again to the back of Roger's car, but not close enough. The gap as they crossed the line was less than half a second. I tell you what, by the time I've said a word, they've both been through the same bit of tarmac. That shows how close they are. And as we're on lap 10 of the race now, we're a quarter of the way through when this lap finishes. Roger and Brioni are still separated. And look at Tessine. Tessine and Zviers have actually caught right up to the back of these two. I tell you what, all of a sudden, this has become a 4-way fight for the lead. They're an absolute train now. Roger really holding up the cars behind him as he needs to do. But suddenly we have 4 cars for the lead. Look at that.
I think Cameron is making a massive mistake right here. He should let Tiziano through and use the slipstream to save some fuel or pull away from the cars behind them, because right now he's just slowing them up.
Well, Cameron's a racer. He's not giving it up easily, but maybe from a strategic point of view, he might be pushing a bit too hard now, but we don't really know what's going on inside that car. We can only speculate. Watch Brioni, watch Brioni, goes to the outside, brakes later into the chicane, and goes through. Oh, Well, it kicks out the rear end, but still goes through anyway. Now, will Roger be able to get him back with the slipstream and the DRS as we head down the opening straight? He opens the rear wing. The DRS flap is open. Oh my word! Oh, that was so aggressive on defence there, and Brioni just about keeps the lead. I'm so surprised that there wasn't an accident there. I really thought they were going to make contact. Looking back at it now, Roger, there was contact. Roger pulled out of the slipstream, and Brioni made a very late defensive move, far too late for my liking. Roger couldn't do anything about it, hit the back of Brioni's car. You can tell he lifted off because the DRS flap closed. And to be honest, Roger will be absolutely furious at Brioni, I'm sure, because Brioni there almost took them both out of the top positions, and that would have given Roma Ticino the lead of this race. So it just shows there how quickly things can change. Luckily, though, there was not an accident, but I can't imagine Brioni is the most popular driver on the grid at the minute.
No, I'm surprised Ticino can pull away this far, because I would have thought that with the contact they had with Cameron, there would be suspension damage for Ticino, but it looks like his car's fine. He's pulling away by quite a margin, and Cameron will be under attack from Roma very soon. And I don't think Roma will hold back anything. And
no,
there we
they
go.
were lucky that it was front to rear contact. Watch Ticino. He got on the grass there. Got on the grass while attacking Roger. But anyway, they were lucky that it was front to rear contact between Roger and Brioni. There was no suspension involved, so I think the cars will be absolutely fine here. But it was definitely a very hairy situation. And talking of hairy situations, Ticino getting very aggressive on the entrance to the chicane. Roger definitely struggling in these early stages, and Ticino and Sviers are right behind him here. We've completed 11 laps of this race now, and it's Brioni leading from Roger, Ticino, Sviers, Oldenmenger, Galanimatis, D'Amelio, Battalla, Lupini, Bogdanov, Pites, Vergier, Remitz, De Vries, and Leonov. Those are the top 15. So Leonov now into 15th place. He's definitely approaching the points. I can't quite remember actually, because I've been away from Formula Sim Racing for too long. Do points go down to 10th or 15th?
They go to 15th in Pro and Ace and 10 in WC.
Ah, okay, that was where I was getting confused. So yeah, Leonov there in the points now. Well, scoring 1 point if the race was to finish like that. He has quite a big gap actually if he's going to catch Kjellhoff De Vries in front of him. But for now, let's not focus on that. Because we do have Roma Ticino going to the outside of Cameron Roger, again in the same place, although again not close enough. So Ticino still fighting, but still unsuccessful so far. Now onto the pit straight. Ticino opens the DRS, opens the well, goes for the move on the inside. Pretty straightforward pass. Roma Ticino up into second place now. Cameron Roger down to third. And the driver behind him is Jordi Sviers in the FTF car. Of course, they're both FTF cars, Roger and Sviers, but you'll notice they're liveried differently. That's because they're from a different flag-to-flag squad. Cameron Roger is racing for flag-to-flag sim racing, and Jordi Sviers for flag-to-flag orange. Meanwhile, we've had a couple of pit stops here. I believe we've just seen Eduard Battalla in the pits, as well as Indrek Remetz, and a couple of other guys came in as well. So we have a mix of... Oh, Bogdanov's off. Bogdanov is very far off the road. Now, where's that? That's in the Estes, and it looks as if he's... Well, there must have been a problem there, because he's... Oh, yeah, he's already been... Okay, he's missing his front wing. Ah, right, he swapped ends coming out of turn 1. So out of turn 1, lit up the rear tyres, spun it around, went into the barrier, then it looks as if he's just parked it at the side of the road. So that will be race over, I'm afraid, for Bojan Bogdanov. He's our fourth retirement, because we've lost Thomas Lance. So Thomas Lance is also out of this race. He retired very recently. Oh, it was a crash in the final corner. He also lit up the tyres going through the final turn. The car swapped ends and went into the barrier on the outside, and that's the end of the race for Thomas Lance. So, 24 drivers remaining now from the original 28, as into the pits comes Kostas Galanamatis. Galanamatis coming in on the soft compound tyre. Now, does he change tyres? What is his strategy? I'm looking for the compound colour to change, and it doesn't. So Galanamatis there stays on the soft tyre. Looks like he's going possibly for a 3-stop, 2-stop rather. Yeah, I think this will definitely be a 2-stop strategy. This will be 2 stints on the soft tyre and 1 on the medium, I believe. I don't think I'll see anyone, or I don't think we'll be seeing him going for a harder compound tyre at all. The hard compound is probably reserved for anyone trying to do a 1-stop strategy, if anyone's going for that. But for now, it seems that 2 stops is the way to go. Meanwhile, Roma Tisin, now he's been released from behind Cameron Roger, has set about catching Tiziano Brioni. The gap is just a second between those two. So still we have a close race for the lead here, and Tisin might well launch an attack soon. I'm wondering when we're going to see Cameron Roger pitting, because he's definitely struggling a bit here. And will he allow Jordi's Veers through? They're technically run by different teams.
Tiziano made a mistake. Tiziano made a mistake. Roma is through.
No, Brioni is still in the lead of the race. I just saw him going off there. That was very close. I'm going to look back at how that happened. But Brioni there has made a mistake. It looks to me... Oh, as I clicked the wrong button there. It looks to me as if Brioni... Well, he didn't clip the grass on the outside. He's just run over the curb. He's caught the under tray. Run slightly wide. That's going to cost him about half a second. But now he's got Roma Tisin to worry about on his tail. And again, behind him, Roger and Veers definitely shouldn't be counted out yet. They're still right there. We still have a 4-way chain for the lead of this race here. But Brioni there definitely brought that on himself. Now, will he be able to hold him off?
It looks like Tiziano is immediately pulling a gap again, so I think he should be fine for now for this lap, although Cameron is getting closer to Roma again, so we might see a battle for P2.
More accidents, I'm afraid. We've lost Indrek Remets. He looks like he's come back into the pits with suspension damage and retired the car. We've also lost Claudio Cunha. And how did Cunha do it? Oh, he crashed on the way into the pits. I tell you what, he's crashed on the pit entry. It looks to me like... Oh, he wasn't even trying to pit. He just kind of lost it through the final corner. Smashed into the pit lane retaining wall and has ruined the rear end of that car. There's no way he was ever going to go anywhere after that. So Claudio Cunha is out. We have 22 drivers remaining in this race as Tom Oldenmenger pits. Oldenmenger is in, and he goes on to the medium set of tyres. So Oldenmenger going for a slightly different strategy here. I reckon he's probably still going for a 2-stop, but he's doing it in a different order to some of the other guys. He'll be going soft, medium, soft, rather than soft, soft, medium. And the advantage of doing that is that that means that you can get out of the way of the people who are pushing at the start, and you also have more safety as well, because well, the car weighs less at the end of the race, so it puts less strain on those soft tyres, and as a result, I think as a measure of safety, it's an advantage. Although there is another disadvantage, and that's that track position is essential near the start of the race, and that's why drivers will often put the soft tyres on first and just start to push through the order as quickly as they possibly can. Meanwhile, let's watch Roma Tisin at the front of the order here, because he will have DRS. No, he won't. He's pitting. In fact, the top two are pitting. Brioni locks up the tyres as he pits, and Brioni and Tisin are both into the pits, giving the lead back to Cameron Roger. Brioni is on the medium tyres. He's going soft, medium, soft. Let's watch Tisin. Does he go for a different strategy to his rival? Yes, no. He goes onto the mediums as well. So Roma Tisin and Tiziano Brioni both on the mediums, and Brioni gets out ahead. So those two still pretty close on pit exit. although going for a very similar strategy here. Brioni and Ticine, as also in the pits is Rainer Vigier and Michael Wilson. So, Cameron Roger leading this race by just a second from Jordi Sveers. Sveers might well still be challenging. Two flag-to-flag racing run cars at the front there. You were going to say?
The gap is getting closer and closer. Look at Jordi. He's basically within 3 or 4 tenths of Cameron right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if either Cameron is pitting this lap or Jordi is overtaking him.
I wouldn't be surprised if they both come in on this lap. Of course, they don't have to worry about stacking their cars, seeing as they are officially 2 separate teams. So it might well be that they both stop on this lap. The gap there was registered as less than 4 tenths of a second. So they went through 130R. Into the pits comes Cameron Roger. Sveers stays out, so Sveers going for the overcut on everyone. Cameron Roger pits in, and Roger, who is on the soft tyre at the minute, is going to stop in his box and change tyres. Whether he changes tyre compound or not is yet to be seen. Here he goes, slides through his pit box and goes onto the medium compound of tyres. So onto the mediums, and Jordi Sveers will undoubtedly pit this lap or next lap.
I don't think he will pit this lap. Looking at the lap times, he went nearly 1 second faster the last lap compared to his previous laps, so he might have enough engine life left to try an overcut on everyone.
That's interesting. He does seem to still be lapping pretty quickly here, but we'll see. A couple of guys in the chat here pointing out that it might well be possible to do a one-stop strategy with something like Pashalos Gergis says 17 laps on soft and 23 on medium. Now I don't think that's what we've been seeing. No, that is. Yeah, okay. So actually, yeah, that's a good point there. We've been, yeah, this is about lap 17 here, and the guys that made their soft tyres last this long, surely can make their medium tyres last even longer. So I don't know what I'm thinking of. Sorry, I'm really not awake today. But yeah, this will be a one-stop strategy from a lot of these guys in front. Sorry for missing that.
And Jordi, sorry to interrupt you, Jordi is flying. He just had the fastest lap, I think, of his stint, or close to his fastest lap with 30.
Very close. He was just 100th of a second off it. Yeah.
So let's take a look at Roma Tissing and Tiziano Brioni. They will finish the lap soon. Let's see what they do on their lap times. They're about 4 tenths faster last lap, but if Jordi can go a little bit faster, you might be able to overcut them.
Just seen a pit stop from Luca D'Amelio. Also a very close call on the front straight. Tom Oldenmenger has just got past Cameron Roger, but there was contact as Roger tried to defend. But Oldenmenger now has got through into what could possibly be an effective 3rd place. Certainly 4th. But we have to see what Jordi Sveers does with this stint. He seems to be doing a very good job of it now. He's still pushing the car hard and flying out in front. So Sveers there setting quick times. His last time, of course, just 100th of a second off his best. And behind him, Kau Pates just went even faster, as did Tiziano Brioni. Brioni pushing and flying on his new tyres. They are the medium compounded tyre, but still absolutely flying on them. That could be the fastest lap of the race. Not quite, because Ticine did one slightly faster earlier on. So we've seen some pretty quick laps here so far. Actually, I think Kostas Gallina-Matis has the fastest lap so far. As Jordi Sveers finally pits. So Jordi Sveers into the pits here. Surely he's going onto the medium compounded tyre. He does. You have to use at least 2 compounds of tyre in this race. And Sveers goes on to the mediums. Kau Pates goes through and leads this race. He started on the medium compound tyre. Brioni exits the pits, or Brioni rather, is second, followed by Ticine. Roger. Sveers is behind Roger still. So Sveers behind Roger. Oh, and Oldenmenger has made a mistake because he's now back behind Roger. Now, when did that happen?
He was.
I'm looking back.
He didn't do a mistake. He was behind Cameron and Jordi the whole time before the pit stop phase.
Yes, but then he passed Roger on the main straight. So I'm just trying to work out what's happened there, because he certainly passed Roger. I'm looking back at it now. Yeah, he got past him, and now he's back behind. Oh, that was De Vries. I was getting it muddled up. Yeah, okay. So the guy who passed on the main straight was Gerlof De Vries. Sorry about that. Just a little muddle up there. Indeed, Oldenmenger is still behind Sveers and Roger, and Toussaint and Brioni. Kyle Pitts is leading this race at the minute, but again, he has not made his pit stop yet. So Pitts leads for now. It won't stay that way. And behind him, Brioni, Toussaint, Roger, Sveers and Oldenmenger are in their correct order. So that's how the order is at the minute. And still, it's pretty close. In fact, all of those guys separated by just about 5 seconds there. So don't count any one of those guys out yet.
Even Leonov is really close to Gerlof De Vries. He might be able to get a good slipstream with the DS right now and make a move into turn 1.
Even Leonov continuing his charge through the order. Takes a look. He's too far back for now, but surely he will get him later on in this lap. Even Leonov on his recovery drive. Now, did he start on the intermediate tyre? Oh, not the inters, the medium tyre. Yes, he did. So, in fact, Leonov has not yet made a pit stop. He will need to do so before the end of this race. However, this is for position, as Gerlof De Vries has also not made a pit stop yet. So, wait for those. But for now, Leonov still pushing De Vries hard. We're exactly half the way through this race now, and the order is Pitts from Brioni, Toussaint, Roger, Sveers, Oldenmenger, Galanamatis, De Vries, Leonov, D'Amelio, Bergier, Lupini, Kulak, Toussaint, and
Leonov is making move onto Gerlof De Vries into Spoon. Oh, makes it past Gerlof. This was a very good move from Ivan Leonov. He had a massive overspeed onto Gerlof De Vries out of the chicane, out of the hairpin, I mean, and made the move stick with Spoon.
Yeah, it's an unusual place to make an overtake, but if you can do it, then do. In fact, his overspeed, you said it was massive. It was 10 miles per hour as he went into that corner there, and no wonder he made the move. But yeah, good driving from him to make it stick.
Jordi Sveers just went past Cameron Roger into turn 1.
Yes, he did. Yeah, Jordi Sveers did get Cameron Roger there. It was a DRS assisted overtake through on the main straight. Didn't have to worry about outbraking him or anything like that. Jordi Sveers up into 4th place. That's going to turn into effectively 3rd place at the end of all of this. And Sveers ahead now of Cameron Roger. Roger will be 4th when all of this sorts itself out. We're still waiting for Pitts to make his pit stop, of course. And I was going to say, when I read out the order, that order is not the effective order. We still have a couple of guys yet to pit. Pitts hasn't pitted. Leonov hasn't pitted. Neither's De Vries. And a couple of other guys in there as well, I also don't think have pitted. Actually, those might be the only ones left. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Look at Jordi. I think he will be within the DS with no Verma Tissing already this lap. He looks to be getting closer and closer within every corner to Verma Tissing.
Yeah, he certainly does. Sveers has been released from the back of Roger's car, and indeed, as we saw through the final sector there, he is in DRS range. So now he will get the DRS as we go out onto the main straight. It opens up. He's far too far back for a move, but he's certainly going to get closer to the back of Roma Tissin's car. And Sveers is hunting him down. He's hounding him like a dog. Watch Sveers line through these S's. It's like a shark, just sort of cutting through. He's watching his opponent, and he's just watching what he does and doing the same thing, but slightly more aggressively, slightly faster.
Look how much closer Jordi is getting. He gained, I think he gained nearly 3 or 4 tenths alone in the S's in sector 1, and now will basically slipstream Roma testing down 130. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jody makes moves before 130. Yeah, but if he's smart, he waits for the DRS so Roma can't take the position back after the chicane.
Down the straight we go. Jordy Spears has at least a slipstream. If he, even if he doesn't have the DRS here, Spears slipstreaming Ticine, and he will be very close to him as we get onto the start-finish straight this time around. This is for 3rd position in the order, 2nd overall, 2nd effectively. Now he'll get the DRS when we cross that white line. He's crossed it now, and Jordy Spears has a great opportunity here, but he's still too far back. Still too far back there. Meanwhile, Tom Lombert's just made a pit stop. That means Michael Wilson is in position for the last point, as Kjellhoff de Vries also pits now. So a couple of the latter positions sorting themselves out now, and I'm sure we will soon get a good view into what the order is actually like. But yeah, Jordy Spears still hounding Ticine. Although while he's being aggressive, watch his steering inputs as well. They're still smooth. He's still absolutely in control. It's not soft, but it is smooth.
Oh, look at this. I think...
Oh, this is a good overspeed. Is he going to do the same thing that Leonov did? No, he's not. He doesn't have quite enough overspeed, but he was definitely close. Meanwhile, Matthew Toussaint's made a pit stop and dropped out of the top 15. That puts Tom Lombert's back into position for the final point. But yeah, Ticine and Spears still going at it. Spears to the outside, takes a slight look into the chicane, but his real opportunity is going to be down the start-finish straight here, as Pitay's pit. Now watch him go. Watch Spears as he opens the DRS. He ducks one way, that way gets covered. He's going to blast through on the outside. He's like a train now. There's no stopping him. And through goes Jordy Spears. Jordy Spears up into 2nd. Brioni now leads this race as Pitay's pitted. Brioni leads the race, and Pitay's will be running to the end on the softer compound of tyre. But it's Brioni now from Spears and Ticine at the front of the order. Spears is through to 2nd. A good attacking drive from Spears. And away he goes out into 2nd position. Can he catch Brioni before the end of this race? He's got clean road in front of him. He's got plenty of opportunity. He's got 1.8 seconds to catch, and he might well do it. We'll see.
I think looking at the gap to Brioni, all of the top 4 are gaining on Tiziano right now. Jordy reduced the gap from over 3 seconds to about 1.5 seconds right now. Even Cameron, who was nearly 6 seconds behind Tiziano, is now only 4 seconds behind him. Jordy is already 1.2 seconds behind Tiziano. He nearly gained the whole second this lap.
Wow, Spears there, gaining 0.6 of a second through that last sector alone. Well, through that last lap alone, I believe. And having a look at the times, it was a 31.960 from Spears, and Brioni has had a 32.352. So a large chunk of time being taken out there. And Spears is definitely hunting down Brioni. Yeah, that was a much quicker lap. Let's watch him through the Degners, taking a lot of curb, but turning it in nicely. Exiting, heading up towards the hairpin, and through the last sector of the lap, catching all the time. So lap 26 now out of 46 of the race. We're in the latter stages. Not much time to go now, and the gap is 1.1 seconds. Spheres still catching Brioni. Let's watch the gap as he goes out onto the main straight. Will he have the DRS this time around? He might well do. The DRS section zone has just been passed. Now, does he open the DRS? It's not quite close enough yet, so no DRS. But as he crosses the line, the gap 1.3 seconds. So actually lost about a tenth that lap. I thought he was catching the whole time, but not quite.
And the most important part for Jordi right now is to not kill his tires. Even though he is faster, he should think to the end of the race. If he kills his tires now, passing Tiziano soon doesn't mean anything. And it looks like that Roma is losing quite a lot of pace. He's dropping a lot to Tiziano and Jordi, and I think even Cameron is catching up to Roma again, so a podium for Cameron is not out of question.
So, lap 27 now, and it's 1 second now between Brioni and Spheres. Just 1 second between those two. Unfortunately, a couple of laps ago, we lost Edouard Batalla from this race. He became our is that 7th retirement? I'm afraid it was. So Gerard Batalla becomes our 7th retirement. It's been an attrition-packed race. Not as bad as some of the races I've seen in FSR or SimRacing as a whole, but still unfortunate. In fact, looking back at it now, it was a pretty silly accident, actually. He lost it coming out of the final corner and actually did no damage at all to the car. It was as he was trying to get it going again. He made a mistake while trying to do a spin turn, went into the barrier and lost his front wing, and then continued for a couple of corners before giving up a little while later. So I'm afraid Edouard Batalla is out. We have 21 drivers remaining in this race, and the gap to the lead is less than a second now. So the DRS zone is about to be available, and that will give Spheres a good opportunity at getting past Tiziano Brioni. Lap 28. Brioni from Spheres, from Ticine. Ticine actually dropping back from this battle a bit, as is Roger, so the fight behind isn't really part of this anymore. It's 2 for the lead now, Brioni and Spheres. Now the interesting thing about this is that neither Brioni and Spheres, more to the point, are actually in contention for top positions in this championship. Brioni is in 5th place at the minute, over a race win's worth of points behind Leonov, and then as well we have Spheres only in 13th place, so this here could really do his championship some good. That is actually because he missed the first couple, well actually he missed all of the first few rounds. He's only really made it in for the last 3 rounds of the championship. So Jordi Spheres there, relatively new to this particular series, and is now trying to make up some points. Slight contact, meanwhile, in the battle. Oh, more contact in the battle for 14th. Kulak and Lombert, who just came together about twice on the apex, or on the run down to Spoon, rather.
And we have a back marker in front of Tiziano Brioni right now, blocked him the whole way through Sector 1. Also, Cameron Roger is within the DS of Roma Tissing now, but Jordi has gained massively in Sector 1 with the back marker in front of Tiziano Brioni, so watch out for Jordi. He might make a move very soon on Tiziano.
Well, that was David Santos there, the back marker you're talking about. I didn't exactly see if he held him up or not, but
Tiziano just had a massive screen freeze out of Spoon. Jordi nearly ran into the back of him. He had to brake hard to not destroy both of the races.
That's... Oh, he did, yeah. Slight, I just looked back at that. You said it was a screen freeze. Yeah, definitely looked technical, and it's a good job they didn't both come together there. But yeah, Brioni from Spheres closing up this whole time. It's now less than half a second, and Spheres has the DRS, goes to the inside, outbreaks Brioni, and sweeps through into the lead. Jordi Sveers takes the lead of this race. It's first place for Jordi Sveers so far from Tiziano Brioni, as we're now 3/4 into this race. And Brioni has got the place. Now he just has to bring it home from here. Sveers doesn't really have that much pressure now. Brioni doesn't appear to be keeping with him. So Sveers now just has to be as smooth as a grandmother's lullaby to the end of this race and bring it home in one piece. It's Sveers from Brioni now, and then Ticine just behind them in third position. Well, about 4 seconds behind them, actually. Cameron Roger is in fourth, still fighting Ticine there, still pretty close to him. Then it's Oldenmenger, Pites, D'Amelio, Gallinamatis, Lupini, Leonov, De Vries, Vergeer, Lomberts and Kulak. Actually, Lomberts and Kulak's overlapping wheels at the minute. Kulak trying to hold on, but Lomberts keeps 13th for now. And then 15th in the final point is just about Matthew Toussaint, but Michael Wilson is hounding him hard through the S's here. So still plenty of points up for grabs towards the back of the field.
Cameron Roger is really close to Roma Tissing right now. He has the DRS, he is within 2 car lengths of Roma Tissing. Roma is turning the engine up. Is Cameron making move into turn 1? No. Roma is covering the inside, turn the engine up, he's safe for another lap.
Through the S's we go, and Roger less than half a second behind Roma Ticine through the through the last checkpoint, the last sector time rather, the last sector split, and still around and about there now as we go through the Dagners. Now, how does Roger react to that? We know that he probably used quite a lot of fuel to stay ahead of his rivals in the first segment of the race, so he might not be able to turn his engine up too much towards the end here. But if there's any trick at all he can find maybe to retake that third place, I'm sure he'll go for it. Talking of going for it, Arik Kulak has finally pulled that place on Tom Lomberts. That's 13th place that he's just taken. But yeah, for all we know, Ticine had to push just as hard in the opening stages of the race to keep up with him. So we don't know that Cameron is in any worse a position than Roma. We know that Cameron certainly has the pace of this track. He was the pole sitter.
Oh, Cameron nearly put his car into the pit wall. He had a massive oversteer moment out of the chicane. He was directly facing the pit wall and saved it in the last second.
Yeah, he didn't he? We've actually seen a couple of guys properly spinning it round there, and a couple actually going into that pit wall. So it's a good job Cameron didn't. But I tell you what, that was a very close situation. That was a bit scary. Of course, that was how I think Claudio Cunha went out earlier, actually kiting straight into that pit wall very, very hard, and ending up ripping a tyre off that car, a whole wheel. But gets away with it for now. And as we're on lap 32 out of 40 now, we're getting close to the end of the race. These are the last stages. And Roger needs to pull something out of the bag now for that final podium place. Cameron Roger looked like he was going to bag a load of points over his rivals at the start of this race, as he had a much better qualifying position than any of his close championship contenders. But in the end, he's only going to finish one position ahead of Tom Oldenmenger. Still better than finishing behind him, but it's not the race that Roger would have liked, dropping from pole position to actually off the podium. I did that the other day in a classic race, qualified pole and then finished fourth. That's I tell you what, it is a disappointing feeling when you know you could have done a lot better, but maybe it was just that the strategy didn't go Roger's way. You were saying earlier on actually that Roger shouldn't have been pushing quite so hard to stay ahead of his rivals at the start. You said that he turned his engine right the way up, and might well have to conserve fuel towards the end of the race, and we might well be seeing that now although he does appear to be faster than Roma Tisin here. He still seems to be pushing for the third place, and he's not backing off in the slightest. So it's difficult to speculate here about what's the actual situation within those two cars.
Oh, and Kramer just made a kind of a mistake into the hairpin. Roma was going slower than he expected. He outbraked himself a bit and had to go wide, and lost a bit of time there. Let's see, he's really close, and so again, for the last 3 laps, Roma used his engine mixes to get ahead of Cameron in the DRS zone to not get overtaken, but Cameron this time around is way closer than he was the last couple of laps.
So, indeed, we're still very close here. Roger pulls right in the braking zone there, but he's going to have to settle for 4th for now. But he has the DRS as we head down the start-finish straight again. Doesn't take a look into turn 1. He knows he's not close enough, wisely so. Now through the S as we go up the hill. Roger, whoa, has a big slide there, a little kick as he goes up the hill. I think that was a little bit further than he was anticipating there, but manages to save it and keep going.
And right now it's just a waiting game for Cameron. He needs to wait for Roma to run out of fuel, basically. Currently, Roma still manages to use his fuel down the main straight to defend against Cameron, so all Cameron has to do is save fuel behind Roma. Try to stay as close as possible, especially on the exit out of the chicane, and then at the best possible moment use his engine mixes to get close enough and overtake Roma.
Still, we can't discount the lead battle as well, because that's still only about 1.1 seconds out in front. Brioni and Spears there. Still close, a lot closer than I thought it would be. It looked to me like Spears was going to be able to run away comfortably towards the end of the race, but he didn't manage it. Robin Panzer's just posted an interesting comment. He says Cameron Roger is Cameron Roger's worst enemy at this stage, and indeed that seems to be the case. Roger making a couple of mistakes, both strategically and in his driving so far this race, but still.
Cameron had another big slide there in the Dunlop curve.
Yeah, his car seems to be getting away from him a bit. That's a combination, I think, of aggressive driving and the turbulent air from the car ahead. Maybe his car isn't quite set up exactly how he'd like it in terms of the balance of it. These are very sensitive, very setup sensitive cars to drive, but manages to keep it under control. Meanwhile, look behind him. Tom Oldenmenger has really caught these two now, so Oldenmenger might well start getting involved in this fight soon. This is a three-way fight for third place in this race now, between Tisin, Roger and Oldenmenger. Still very close. I'm just going to switch my attention briefly to Brioni as he goes down the start-finish straight, because he will have DRS again on this lap. Indeed, the DRS is open. Still far too far back though, although Brioni...
Cameron is really close to Roma this time around. Roma had a bad exit of the chicane. Cameron, DRS open, slipstreaming. Roma going up the inside. Cameron on the racing line. Is he ahead of turn 1? Yes, he is. Oh, Roma!
Oh gosh!
Nearly goes
Roma
to the back of Cameron.
Very close to swiping out his rear end there. That was almost a Senna and Prost moment. But Roger does get through. Tisin somehow doesn't hit him. And now Tisin has his teammate in the other Ghost Speed racing car just behind him. That's Tom Oldenmenger. But yeah, Roger reclaims that third position there. Tisin very nearly takes him off. Doesn't in the end, and it's a good thing too. But keeps it going.
And the battle for the lead is getting closer again as well. Tiziano is within 1 second of Jody Suez again, so there might have been some action in the last few laps for the lead as well. Oh, and Jody having a big moment out of Spoon, nearly going onto Crowther and Tiziano as well, so they're both pushing very hard.
Just gone back to look at that moment in Spoon. You're absolutely right. It was very much a Cameron Rodgers style mistake there. But no incident yet, which is good.
Look at Roma. Roma is very close to Cameron. He had a massive overspeed into 130. He's basically in the gearbox of Cameron, going into DRS zone right now. Let's see if Cameron has enough fuel left to defend a little bit with engine mixes, but Roma trying to go around the outside. Cameron still on the inside. Oh, there's the outside.
Slight contact actually. They rub wheels, but Cameron still keeps that 3rd place there. That's forceful defence, but also a forceful attack from Tissin, and they just sort of cancelled each other out and made slight contact. Nothing serious though, and no foul done. So they've made it through, still in 3rd and 4th positions. It's very close though between the two of them. Tissin touches the gravel in the Degners, and he's right on the tail of Rodgers' car. Wow, that's a weird line, but he's going to the outside as they go through the hairpin. Look at this, he's still there. They bang wheels again. He puts the power down. Roger gets the better run out of the hairpin as we go towards Spoons now, and Tissin is full out attack mode. He will be feeling his heart pounding. Watch this, through Spoon, and Tissin needs to set himself up for a good exit. Roger has not done so. He goes wide. Tissin will have the better run off this corner. He's got the slipstream. He heads up the hill. He's catching, and he goes to the outside. He's on the grass. A 2-wheeled overtake around the outside of 130R, and he's made it stick. Not even Fernando Alonso did that. That is incredible. And does he make it stick? I think he's going to. He does. As we go through the final corner, that was one of the most fascinating, most exciting overtakes I've ever seen in sim racing. Roger's still not giving it up. They're 3 wide. They're 3 wide, and there's contact. And Roger go around. Off as well go TC, and they've all come together. I can't believe that. Well, I can absolutely believe that. We all saw it coming, and there's more contact as well. But what a disaster at the end of this race! An absolute disaster, and a big pity as the 3 drivers fighting over 3rd place have all come together. They're all going to have to make pit stops. What a dreadful end to that fight there. You can't really apportion blame to any one driver in all of that. They just didn't work, and they came together on the entrance to the corner. Oldenmenger and Roger got locked together, spun the car around. Tissin had nowhere to go, and I'm afraid that was that.
Okay, so we have Oldenmenger retired from the race. Tissin and Roger both have no front wing. I think Cameron has massive suspension damage as well. It's Joao Pitar is now in P3. While Tiziano Brioni is getting closer and closer to Jordi Suez as well.
Wow, that was a very, very unfortunate mistake, and they're all going to have to make pit stops here. Oldenmenger is out of this race, and that's terrible news. They were having a fantastic battle. We've also lost from this race David Santos in a separate accident. Santos seems to have had that was coming out a Spoon about a lap ago. He lit up the rear tyres and went into the barrier. That was race over for him. And we've lost Sergio Riaz as well. And how did Riaz go out? Oh, he oh no, he got collected by one of the sliding go. It's terrible. He got collected by who was that? Tom Oldenmenger, who had a big slide with his bad suspension damage. Riaz couldn't predict it, and they made contact, and that's also why Oldenmenger is out of this race now. So terrible news. And at the Pates is up into 3rd place, and Tissin has missed the pits. Tissin has not pitted. Is he trying to finish this race without a front wing?
He's trying to finish it, but that's not what he's supposed to do, so he needs to pit this lap, otherwise he will have some issues.
Yeah, to be honest, that's dangerous. Whoa, we're close for the lead! There may have been a mistake for Spheres here, because we're very close for the lead, and Brioni's going for it! Brioni on the outside. Watch this. He's outbraking him. And he's gone through. He's on the inside and he's gone back through. Tiziano Brioni leads this race. Unbelievable. I really thought it was over when Spears went through the first time. But now Brioni is back in the lead. Fantastic racing. Fantastic race. Unpredictable the entire way through. Brioni just had to back off for a couple of laps and wait for it to wait for another opportunity to present itself. And through he went. So a change in the order. He's gone through. What an unbelievable, highly unpredictable race. And it's Brioni leading now from Spears. And João Pires has inherited third place from that accident. So Pires is going to finish third after all of that. And who would have thought it? But even Leonov is going to finish fifth. What a fantastic race for him. And what brilliant luck for Leonov as well, that his championship rivals all eliminated each other in that massive accident. That is terrible, but also fantastic at the same time. Meanwhile, Reino Vigier goes through into 7th. He's just passed Mirko Lapini in these last couple of laps here. We are actually on the final lap of the race. Let's watch Tiziano Brioni as he goes towards the final sector. Brioni is bringing it round. They're still close for the lead, but Spears is not going to have another opportunity. And Tiziano Brioni breaks into the chicane. He's really had to fight for it, and he made the move stick on the penultimate lap of this race. Unbelievably so. And Tiziano Brioni exits the final corner. He's going to win the race, and he does it. Tiziano Brioni wins the race. Jordi Spears is second. There's been a change for third. Gallimatis has got it. So Gallimatis takes third from Pires. He got him up the inside of Spoon, and it might not be over yet for fourth either. But anyway, Gallimatis is going to finish third. Can Pires hold off Leonov for fourth? I don't know if he's going to do it. Leonov is going to the... well, he took a look. He's not close enough, though. And Kostas Gallimatis is going to finish third. There he goes. Claims the final podium spot. Who's going to be fourth? And it's Leonov. It's just... oh, my word. They finished on exactly the same time. It's an absolute tie for fourth place, but Leonov just gets it. Wow, that would have been down to the 10,000th of a second. Leonov gets it on an absolute photo finish, and I tell you what, Pires actually had badly damaged suspension at the end there, and that's why he lost all of those positions. Pires actually damaged his suspension a couple of laps ago. I don't quite know when that happened, but my word, what drama at the end of this race. Absolutely. Oh my word. I was not expecting any of that to happen. I'm just looking back now to see if I can see. Oh no! Pires was hit! Pires was hit by Roger, as Roger was rejoining from the multiple accidents. So the accident claimed more casualties than I thought. Pires ended up being cost third and fourth positions. Leonov went through into fourth, then sixth was D'Amelio, 7th was Vigier, then it was Lupini, De Vries, Roger ended up 10th, then it was Wilson, Kulak, Lomberts, Tucson, Burkhardt, Beasley, Vela, and then we had retirements in Olderminger, Riaz, Santos, Batalla, Kuna, Remetz, Bogdanov, Lentz, Batalla, and Morante, and I don't see at all where the other Ghost Speed car finished. Not Tom Olderminger, Teesing. I believe Teesing may have been disqualified.
Teesing indeed got disqualified. He got the call by the race director to repair his damage immediately, but decided to stay out. And he knew that he had the choice of repairing his damage or get disqualified, so he chose to get disqualified.
Well, that was a really highly unpredictable end to the race. The gap to the lead in the end was just 0.966. A very close finish to the race there, and also for third place. Unbelievable finish. And I can't quite believe what I just saw for those last couple of laps. Terrible race. Or terrible finish to the race, rather. But, wow, let's face it wasn't exactly boring. We will be back in a couple of minutes for, well, in about an hour for the ACE broadcast. So Formula Sim Racing ACE coming later today. and then after that as well is the World Challenge. To be honest, if this race was anything to go by, you won't want to miss either of them. Make sure you make it. We'll see you then for those ones. But goodness me, what a race we just witnessed. I certainly need a break from that. So yeah, any last thoughts on that? Wow.
Oh, I don't know what to say. It was an insane race, and especially the last 8 or 9 laps. So I think we had quite a good showing for all the guys watching the live stream, all the drivers. So pretty eventful race. So now I think with this, it's time to end the broadcast. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you to Joshua for jumping into the commentary. Just thank you for Felix doing the cameras and trying to commentate, even though his voice is pretty dead. So see you all for the next round.
See you then.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
I'll have to hand you.